Today, you're going to get one of the easiest step-by-step guides for how to go and become an actor. It's going to be so easy that even a kindergartner can understand this. One of the things that I love that Albert Einstein said is that if you can't explain it simply, then you don't know it well enough. And the thing that I see is a lot of people trying to explain this, but explaining it so complicated that you just get overwhelmed as the individual or the actor, and you're like, I don't even know what to do. I don't even want to pursue this industry anymore. So my whole goal is to try and make this as easy as possible. I'm going to tell you, I am coming from the assumption of assuming that you've taken acting classes before and you've decided that you like acting because you've actually tried it and you've tested it out before. It's not that you just watched a movie on Saturday and then Sunday came along and you said, you know what? I want to become an actor. Hopefully you took some classes, you tested it out, you did a scene or two, you did some monologues, you've been in front of the camera, you tested it out, you had some play with acting to realize that, okay, you kind of like it and you think that you want to go and pursue it professionally. I'm coming from that place, which is why I'm not really going to be starting off talking about what classes to take or how to go and take classes as an actor, how to find them. But I will be talking about it only at the end of this video and not at the beginning, so we can kind of jump into this a little bit quicker for all of you, because I'm assuming most of you, again, have taken an acting class and you just want to know, what can I do? I just need to know some steps. So here's the first thing, a concept you must understand completely for yourself. Agents and managers are one of the most important people that you're gonna need in your life as an actor. And they're so important, in fact, that I'm going to give you an example. Let's imagine that you're a great actor. You're phenomenal. You're fantastic. Let's say you have the acting abilities of Meryl Streep. You're a very good actor. And you have a friend who is obviously not at your level. They're a worse actor than you. You are a far more talented actor. But they have an agent and or manager, and you do not. But you're very talented. He or she has a better chance at making it in this industry than you do. And this industry is also very hard, extremely hard to make in it, but they have a better chance at making it in this industry than you do. And you have so much talent. Now you might be at home scratching your head thinking, whoa, what are you talking about? I'm more talented than this guy or this girl. Why am I not going to have a better chance? Because agents and managers help get you seen. You on your own by yourself, extremely difficult, almost impossible. So I'm imagining that most of you want to be in big movies, big TV shows. You don't want to be in some student film that nobody's ever going to see in their life. You want to be in that next big Top Gun movie, or you want to be in that Barbie movie, or you want to be in the next Hunger Games. Or maybe it's a TV show and you want to go and be on the next Stranger Things or The Summer I Turned Pretty or whatever it is, but you want to be on something that a lot of people are seeing all the time. Which is understandable. That's what most actors want. Here's how I like to think about it in the way that I make this really easy for everyone to understand. I look at different movies and different TV shows on a grading scale. So this is like the general grading for in the US over here. A grade level of an A are all the movies and TV shows that you want to be on. Those big movies, those big blockbuster Marvel movies, Barbie, Top Gun, all of those movies, those are the top ones, the A-level projects. Then B-level projects are also big projects, but they're just not as big as those A-level top tier projects. Then you have C-level projects, which are smaller than B, and they don't really push your career in a big leap forward, but they can kind of be okay. And then you have a D and F level projects, and those are the ones that you really don't want to be a part of. Those are the ones that are never going to see the light of day. It's a student filmmaker who's just making this scene for class so they can just try and get a good grade. They don't really care about the project that they're doing. Those are the D and F level projects, the ones that you don't want to be a part of. So let me give you another little example here. There's this platform called Actors Access. Actors Access is where actors will go and sign up so they can try and submit for different projects being cast for, different movies, different TV shows, which you might be thinking, great, I should sign up for that. Well, here's the caveat. When you sign up for Actors Access and you're just signing up with yourself and you don't have an agent or a manager, the only projects that you really get access to are those D and F level projects with some C level projects and rarely ever an A or a B level project coming available. So the big majority that you have access to are the D and F level projects. Whereas if you have an agent and or a manager, they get access to every single project out there, every single level A project that's out there they have access to. Every single BU project out there, they have access to it. So when they see that, and if you're their client, they're going to say, hey, you know what? I think Jenna would be great for this. I think Tommy would be great for this part. I'm going to go and submit them to the casting director to see if I can get them an audition. If you don't have that agent or you don't have that manager, you're never going to get the opportunity, which is why they are so important in this business. And if you're wondering, hey, how can I go and make it in this industry? You got to have an agent or a manager in order to help you do that. So now, this is really easy to say, hey, you need an agent or a manager. This is where a lot of people tend to stop. You have probably realized this before when you've seen other people do different videos talking about how to go and make it as an actor. If they're saying, hey, agent, manager, boom, leave it at that. Now let's dive a little bit deeper. How do you get that agent and manager? Well, you have to send them off different material. Now, the materials that you send off to them is extremely important. Because when you send off that material, they decide whether or not they want to bring you in for an interview or not. So you want to make sure the material that you're sending in is actually good. So one of the things that you're really going to have for yourself, and is very important for the actor, one of the most important things I tend to say, is you're going to have a headshot for yourself. A headshot is a picture of you. They want to see what you look like. And this is the thing that gets you in the rooms for the agents and managers. It also gets you in the rooms for the casting directors, producers, for everybody to see you. You have to have a great headshot. And I'm going to give you a personal example of what happens when you don't have a good headshot, but you think you do. So I had a headshot before, which I thought, it was a decent headshot. I thought it was pretty good. This is when I was starting out. I had a headshot, and then for 6 months, I only had maybe 2 or 3 auditions that I got in a time span of 6 months. And then I did something different. I decided, you know what? I'm just going to get some new headshots, see if anything changes at all. Nothing else changed. Didn't get any new amazing training. Didn't do anything new. All I did was change my headshots. And here's what happened. An amazing thing. I got, instead of 2 to 3 auditions in 6 months, half a year, I ended up getting 1 to 2 auditions every single week. And the only thing that changed at all was the headshot. So headshots are extremely vital for people bringing you into a room, wanting to get to see you, wanting to get to know who are you. Now, there's a few different ways for yourself on how you can go and get great headshots. One of the obvious things, which you probably already know, which is really easy to understand, is just going out there and finding somebody who takes headshots. The problem is they end up charging you a lot of money, especially in LA. I know so many actors who got headshots and they had to spend $400 to $500 getting headshots. I know somebody who is an actor and they also do headshots, and they charge about that much, $400 to $500, because that's the market value. The market is saying, hey, headshots for actors are about that much money. It's a lot. I've seen other photographers charge up to $700 to $800. A lot of money. I personally know an actor who went and spent $1,500 on a headshot. It's a lot of money. I don't personally recommend actors doing that as their first choice. That option is always going to be available to you. If you have the money and you want to go and pay somebody for a headshot, that option is never going away. There will always be somebody willing to take your money to take your pictures. But I want to give you some options that are free, and it's a little bit nicer for you as the individual because you get to save money in your pocket, which is really important for the actors because this industry is really hard to make it in. So, a few different things that you can do. One of the things that I like is if you go to a junior college, maybe they have a photography department or they have photography classes. And the students in there typically all have very good cameras, and they're all learning how to take very good pictures. Something that you maybe aren't quite aware of how to do, but they're working at it. This is what they're doing in their classes. So one of the great things that you can do is offer up your services of being a model for these people and saying, hey, I know that you're going to have to take some headshots sometime in the semester. I need some headshots for myself. Would you be willing to take some pictures of me and I can be a model for you? And then it's a win-win situation. They have a model. It's not awkward for them to go and try and find somebody to take pictures of. You're there. You're willing to do it. And then if they take these pictures and you like them, they're free. And the other great thing is there's a lot of different photographers in these departments in the classes. So then what happens now is that you can get multiple people. You can get 10 different people to take pictures of you, and it's all free and it's all great quality. That's the magic of being able to go and use people for their services, but you're also helping them at the same time. That's one of the things that I like a lot. That's what I recommend to a lot of people because, again, it's what they're doing. It's what they're learning. They're talented at it, and you get great pictures. That's what I did, and it worked out very well, and I got to save in my pocket $1,500 like that one actor who spent it. And that's what I suggest for a lot of you. Now, the other option that you have, which is also a free option, is you can go and take a headshot for yourself. Now, it's great because phones are starting to get better and better and better each year. Their cameras get better. So you can try and take a picture on your phone. If you have a professional camera, even better. You will have to try and learn a little bit though, how to go and take pictures, different angles, how to go and use your cameras a little bit, but it is an option that you have. And the phones do keep getting better, and there are people who talk about how to get great headshots using your phone. And you can try some of those and see how you do with it. Just make sure that your background is pretty blank, or you really blur it out if you have things going on in the background for yourself. It's trickier to do, but why not? You can try it and it's free. The one that I highly recommend the most though is just going to those programs or classes, and those ones tend to help out a lot for actors. There's another thing that I'm really curious about, and I don't know where it's going or how it will be, but I've seen some people do it, and I want to try it for myself to see how I like it, if it's good or not, and then I can try to recommend it to you, and ultimately it would be most helpful for you if it works, which I've seen people using AI for their headshots. So they may have a picture that they have on their phone of yourself or myself, what I would do, and then you put it in the AI software, and then it creates very good headshots for what I've seen other people do. I haven't personally tested it out to give it credit or not, but from what I've seen, I have seen people go and they have a picture on their phone of themselves, or they take a selfie, and then the AI literally makes this amazing image of that individual, and they can have different styles and different looks, and it's very cheap. I think, to pay for the software, maybe it costs you $7, $10, which is practically nothing. But that is also potentially another thing you can do. I haven't tested it out, but if any of you want to test it out, and leave it down in the comment section below how you liked it, if it worked, what it was, let me know, and then maybe I can test it out and then verify that and then give it back to all of you. But that is something I'm very curious about, especially when we get into this whole age of AI and everything. The other thing you're going to need is you're going to need to have a resume. So you have the headshots that you're going to go and send in to this agent or manager. You also, along with the headshot, are going to have to send in a resume. And then there's going to be one more thing, but let's talk about this resume. So resumes is going to be the thing that they get to see how much work that you've done. They get to see what type of work you've done. Hey, what type of classes have you done? What type of training do you have? This is the thing that you're going to be filling onto your resume. There's a few different ways to do this for yourself. One of the ways that you can do this is just to go and create your own resume from scratch. You go and you open up Pages, or you open up Google Docs, and then you go and you start inputting in information, and you start trying to create a resume for yourself. It's an option that you have. I would suggest, though, if you do that, to go and just get some examples online, see what other people have done, what theirs look like. So then it's not just, trying to do it from scratch. It can be really weird because the way that an actor's resume is laid out is different than if you're applying for a job somewhere else to work. So I would just take a look on Google, look at Google Images, and see what other people have done for their headshots if you're going to try and mimic it and do it for yourself. The other option that you have is Canva. Canva has some options for resume templates, which they're not so bad. There's some that are pretty nice. Resumes, they're pretty plain, so you don't have to make it super flashy or have a bunch of colors on it or a bunch of different graphics, but they do have some just standard little resume templates that do look nice and they do look interesting. So you can use Canva. That's an option that you have. The other one that you have is I've created these 10 acting resume templates, and you can use those. The reason I created those templates is just so it was easy for the actor. They can have 10 options. They can choose which one they want, and then ultimately they can go and just input their information. Super easy, super clean. I created that though to help speed up the time and the process for an actor. It costs $10, costs $1 for each one. But I recommend, again, I want actors to save as much money as possible. I recommend if you have 60 minutes, you have an hour, just do it yourself. If you don't have the time at all and you just want to make life simple on yourself, you can go and get those resume templates that I have. I always leave them down in the description down below. But you ultimately don't have to do that. If you just go and have 60 minutes of your day and you go and look at what somebody else has done on Google, and you just kind of try and mimic a little bit, not the information, but you mimic the layout, and then you fill in your own information for the resume, that works just fine. You have different options for yourself, but resumes are going to be the things that you also have to submit to these agents and these managers. The last thing that you're going to be submitting is you're going to be submitting cover letters. So cover letters is basically you going to be writing in there saying, hello, Mr. or Miss this, I'm interested in seeking theatrical representation, blah, 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 blah. You're going to add in information. You want to make it specific and unique to you. There's a lot of different online examples that you can look at. You just go type in Google acting cover letter examples, and there's going to be a ton that you can see. Backstage, also at Backstage is a big platform that a lot of actors use to either find information or even self-submit for some projects. But again, if you self-submit, typically it's going to be DNF level projects. But that's a platform that people use. And on that platform, they do also have some examples of cover letters. So there's a lot of different ways to find those examples for yourself. The thing that I tend to do when it comes to writing these cover letters is I like to keep them short, simple, and sweet. I don't like to make them too long. They're definitely not over a page in length at all. Very short, very easy. Cover letter for me, I tend to put it just in the body of the email. When I send it, I don't send it as a separate document. I just send it in the body of the email. But I do keep it short, simple, and sweet. And if I can, I try to find out how I can put a little bit of me in there and letting them know how I'm more marketable to them to make a little bit more money. The reason I say that is because the job of the agent or the manager for themselves is to make money so they can put food on the table for them and their families. So anytime they have a client, they're hoping that that client ultimately makes them money. So the way that you can be dollar signs in their eyes is if you're able to stand out a little bit. If you just say, hey, I'm an actor and I want to do some acting work, here's my headshot, it's possible that maybe they could get back to you, but they also get a lot of people sending in great headshots to them and wanting to become an actor. But if you can make your cover letter a little bit more genuine, short, simple, and sweet, not too long, they'll actually read through it to the end. And if you have special talents that make you stand out from other people and you can put that into your cover letter, that gives you a better chance of being called in for a meeting. So for example, if you're somebody who plays music, music is a really great thing that you can do as an extra talent to have when you're auditioning for projects. Because if you can say play guitar, or you can play piano, or you sing, you get access to those auditions that agents, managers will send you out for. If they have a client who can't sing, can't play guitar, can't do music, they're not going to send them out. So ultimately, they can send you out then for more projects because you have that talent for yourself. Or maybe it's martial arts that you can do. Any extra talent that you have that makes you unique and is marketable is great to put in there. Don't put anything that's very unique or very niche. So let's say, for example, if you have something like you're a great underwater basket weaver. Okay, that's great. That's very niche. But how many projects out there are actively looking for somebody who has the talent of being an underwater basket weaver? Not very many, but there's a lot of shows out there and a lot of movies where they do look at people and they have musical skills because they're playing some sort of instrument or they're singing. There's been a lot of movies or TV shows where we've seen martial arts. Martial arts is another great skill. If you have that, to try and incorporate that into your cover letter, because again, for them, it's a dollar sign, symbols flashing in their eyes, and it gives you a better chance of getting into that room. So those are the three things that you're going to be sending in to that agent or that manager. So let's just kind of back up a little bit and break it down again. Agents and managers are one of the most important people that are going to get you into the room of those casting directors, and producers. If you don't have them, then you're never going to get to have that option for yourself. Now, in order to get them, you have to send in material. The material that you have to send in, again, is going to be the headshot, and we talked about how to get that, the resume, talked about how to do that, and the cover letter. So now this brings us on to moving on to our next step, which is going to be how do you go and find these representations? How do you go and find the agent and the manager? Because now you're thinking, okay, great, I can get all the material for myself. Now, how do I send it off? Where do I send it to? So you have to be able to get in contact with the agent and manager, and there's a few different ways to do this. One of the ways that you can do this, which is a pretty easy way, is if you sign up for an acting class. Some of these acting classes will typically have showcases at the end of their, say, 8-week or 10-week session. In a showcase, that means they bring in people from the industry. Typically, they bring in an agent or a manager. Sometimes they bring in a casting director. Sometimes they bring in a producer. It depends. A lot of times they'll list the type of people that they bring. And that is an option for yourself to try and get seen by some of these people. Now, it's not a guarantee. You have to remember some of these agents and managers may get a kickback sometimes from the people who run these classes. They say, hey, come here for a day. We'll pay you however much they decide to pay them. And then the agent and manager, they don't have to take anybody as the client on. But if you blow them away and you do great work, then there's a good chance that they may say, wow, I don't have this person on my roster. Maybe I should consider bringing them on, or maybe I will have a meeting with them to see if I can represent them or not. They also have other ones where they just have the showcases and they don't have a class element part of it. It's up to you on which one you want to do. It's nice if you can kill two birds with one stone and you have one where you can take a class, you're learning from the class, you get to know the instructor a little bit, and then if the instructor likes you, then maybe they'll also recommend you to the agents or the managers that they go and bring in, and it can be a win-win situation. That is an option, though, that you have for yourself. The other one that there is there's references. So if you take acting classes, you will tend to be around other actors. Now, some of these actors may be beginning actors. Some of them may be intermediate actors. Some of them may be advanced actors. People just wanting to continue their training. Well, when you have these people around you, and if you befriend them, and if they like you and you're nice and you're kind, sometimes you can ask them for a reference and say, hey, I don't have an agent or a manager right now. I'm really curious and looking to try and find one. Do you have any recommendations? Or you may say, hey, your agent, your manager sounds great. Do you think you'd be able to put in a good word for me so maybe I can have a meeting with them? Sometimes you could be very direct with it. Maybe they won't always recommend you to their current agent or manager, but maybe they had another agent or manager in the past, and maybe they'll say, you know what? I know this agent, this manager, they're great. They worked for me when I was starting out and growing. Let me recommend you. It's a very common thing for people to help other actors and recommend them through this business. The other option you have, this is the last one. This one is an amazing option. Fantastic. But it does cost you some money, and I will say that right off the bat. I believe this may cost you anywhere from $120 to $150. I don't remember the exact amount right now, but it's using IMDb, and specifically IMDb Pro. So IMDb Pro is basically this great database software where it has the information of almost everybody within this industry, contact information for them. And on IMDb Pro, you get to see all the different contact information for the different agents and managers out there. And let's say, for example, there's an actor that you really admire, that you really like. Let's say there's an actor that you've seen from Stranger Things, or there's an actor that you saw in The Summer That I Turned Pretty. And if there's an actor that you like and you think that, wow, I could play the roles that they play, I seem very similar to them. Well, if you go on IMDb Pro, you can look at who they have listed under their representation for an agent or a manager. And then from there, you can see the contact information, and then you can choose whether or not to go and submit to them. Some things that you have to be aware of is that you can't always submit to every single agent or every single manager out there. Sometimes they want referrals, so they want someone to refer you in order for them to take a look at you. Some agencies do allow people to just, whenever they, have their materials ready, you can go and freely submit to them. One of the ways that I would suggest going about this is just seeing first the type of actors that you think you're very similar to. And then I would go and look at the representation they have for the agent or manager, and I would see what company that the agent and manager is part of. Then what I would do is I would try to find that company's website, and I would see on that website to see if they take unsolicited requests for representation or not. Some of them will say, no, you have to only submit to us if someone recommends you. Some of them won't say anything at all, which typically means that they may be open or available for it, or some of them may specifically say, yeah, hey, submit here. Here's how you can submit. But IMDb Pro is one of the best ways for you to go and just find agents and managers for yourself and the actual contact information for them. If you just try to do that on Google, it's going to be extremely difficult and hard. I challenge you to just go and after watching this, do that. Go on Google and try to find them for yourself. You will find some, but you're not going to find the amount that you can get on IMDb Pro. So those are the different ways of finding the representation for yourself. So agents and managers, quick review, are the most important thing that you need in order to make it in this industry. If you don't have an agent or a manager, it ain't going to work out for you. We talked about how to go and get the agent and manager. Headshots, resume, cover letter. How to get the headshot, how to get the good resume, how to get the cover letters. Talked about all of that. Talked about how to find the representation, how to go and find the agent, how to go and find the manager. Talked about all of that. So now we can get into the next portion, which is now going to be talking about the acting bit. How you can go and find good acting classes for yourself, get the training that you need. And then I also want to spend some time talking about self-tapes, because we live in a world now where self-tapes are extremely important, whereas 5 years ago, it would have been a totally different world and I wouldn't be telling you the same things when it comes down to self-tapes. So acting, how can you go and find good classes for yourself? How can you go and just start practicing your acting? One of the things to do is to literally go on Google and find local acting classes around you. It really depends on where you are, because some of you may not have access to a drama school, but maybe you have a local acting class that's right by you. Some of you maybe don't want to even go to drama school and you want to do a local acting class. Some of you, maybe you want drama school. There's so many different options when it comes to actual training for yourself. But the first thing that I suggest for a lot of you to do is just go on Google and look up local acting classes and then look up the reviews and see what people say about it. Do people like it? Do people seem like they gain a lot from the classes? And after you've done that, then I would go and look at the instructors and see what have the instructors done? How long have they been teaching for? Or where did they go and get their degrees from? Did they get good training? Did they not get good training? Just try to do a little bit of research for yourself. Simple Google search on finding those local acting classes. The other thing that you can do is you can go to junior colleges. And junior colleges may also have some acting classes available where you can go and sign up for a class. And it's not very expensive. And you can go and sign up and try to go and work on your acting in these classes. It's a way for you to be around other people. It's a way for you to get a scene in your hand, get a monologue, perform in front of people. It's really not a bad way if you don't have any options. Let's say you don't have local acting classes around you, but you got a junior college. Then do that. Or maybe you don't want to do the acting classes that are local and you actually want to get credit from a college. Then you can do that at the junior colleges and it's really not a bad thing. The other option that you have are online acting classes. Some people will host acting classes online or you can buy courses online. As many of you already know, I do have my 10-hour acting masterclass, our new one, our 2.0 version, which is always available to anybody who wants to do it. You can be a part of our family and be a part of our community. I always leave that in the description down below. We're happy to have all of you there. It really depends on the individual though and what you're going for. If you don't like online acting classes and that's not what you want to do, then please do not sign up for it. But if you like online acting classes and you see the benefit of it, of being able to work at your own time and your own schedule, then it may be something that you want to go and consider, whether it's my classes or it's someone else's classes. Ultimately, you have to do what works for you, what you're going to feel comfortable with, and what you feel that you're going to actually improve your acting for yourself. But those are options when it comes to some classes. There's so many different scenarios that everybody's going to be in, and I'm trying, if I can, in this video to cover as many bases as possible because my whole goal is to try and help as many actors as possible. So for me, I try to think of all the different scenarios that might be out there and just give ideas on what I would do and see if that works for you, if it resonates with you. The last thing that I want to talk about, which is actually really important, is when it comes down to your self-tapes. Self-tapes was not definitely something we had to deal with 5 years ago at all. But after the pandemic hit and everything shut down, same happened to the movie industry. Everything was closing. You probably saw it on the news all the time. Well, something that changed was in-person auditions. Before, about 90% of the time when I would audition, it would be in person in the room with the casting director, and maybe 10% of the time, or even less than that, was me recording myself on camera and then submitting that off to the casting directors. Now that has completely reversed and changed. It's now about 98, 99%, where it's all online, and very few times, very rarely is it in person. Even a lot of callbacks now, they're doing online, where they put people on Zoom and they try to get a chemistry read through the computer screen. It's a different world. It's a different medium. I hear a lot of people complaining about it. The thing that I have to say is that it's very easy to complain. It's very easy to sit back and be like, I hate this. I don't like this. This is not what we should do. But the truth is, it's not going to change. You can keep complaining about it as much as you want, but self-tapes aren't going to go anywhere. One of the big reasons that it's not going to go anywhere is because they've cast a lot of shows through this process and they've been fine with it. A lot of shows have been doing successful. And the other thing is that it's a lot cheaper for the casting directors. The casting directors, before, they had to have their own building or they had to rent their own room. Now they don't have to spend that monthly income paying for a building or paying for a room to rent out. Now they get to be from the comfort of their own home and they get to look at self-tapes from home and they get to cast that way. Basically, when the pandemic hit, it was the ultimate experiment to try this and see if it worked out, and ultimately it did. And then that was the process that now we are sticking with. So whether you like it or not, when you audition, most of the time now, you're going to be auditioning through self-tapes. If you do have callbacks, you will be able to interact on the computer on Zoom. But again, a lot of it's going to be in this virtual way. Doesn't mean that you're never going to get auditions in person. They will be in person. But when it comes to, at least for movies and TV shows, a lot of it is on Zoom. When it comes to theater, it's a little mix. A lot of it is in person, but they will have some now, or I've seen people do different self-tapes that they send in, even for those. So now we know that that's a fact. Is it good? Is it bad? Again, it is what it is. For me personally, I tend to think that it's a good thing. It's a little bit better because, again, I'm going to break it down into a lot of different aspects. When it comes to money for the actors, before you had to go and have your money, you had to spend it to go and print your headshots. So you had to have headshots and you have to print your headshots. So every time you go to an audition, you have to give your headshot to the casting director. And that means every single year you're buying more headshots, more headshots, more headshots. The other thing is a lot of actors, especially if you're in LA, you have to wait in traffic all the time because there's traffic all the time in LA. If you've ever been to LA, the traffic is crazy. I hate the traffic myself. But you have to sit in the traffic and you have to wait while you go to your audition. And then you go and you have to pay for the gas to get there. So that's going to cost you money. And then you're going to be in the room for a few minutes. And maybe you were in traffic for 30 minutes or an hour. And then you're in the room for like 5 minutes, maybe a little bit longer if you're lucky and it's going well. And then you got to go and spend another 30 minutes to 60 minutes going back home or going to work. And the thing is, it costs a lot of money and it costs a lot of time for the actors. The thing that's great now about self-tapes is you could be at work, you could be working at your job, you get a self-tape that you have to do. Once you get home and you're all done with everything, then you can put up your camera, put up the lights, record yourself, and then send that off in to the casting director. So the process now has become a lot easier and it actually ends up saving you, the actor, more money. The other reason that I like self-tapes is because it now gives opportunities to a lot of individuals who maybe didn't have the same chances before. So, for example, you had to be in LA all the time if you wanted to go and get an agent or a manager. They wanted you to be here all the time. But now with everything moving remote, you can be in a different state. For example, there's this guy that I know who he lives in Detroit, Michigan, and he wanted to be an actor and he really wanted to get an agent or a manager. And I helped him get an agent for himself. And the thing that was great was he was able to go and be and live in Michigan and have an agent in LA send him out for all these big projects that he got to audition for. And some of them were very, very, very big and lucrative projects that he had the opportunity to audition for. 5 years ago, he would never have had that chance, ever. But now, after the pandemic and everything changed, now he has those opportunities to go and be like, oh, wow, okay, I can actually go and submit for these projects from somewhere else. So this also opens up the door to give people more opportunities, which I like. One argument that people have, which is a valid argument, is saying, well, now is there going to be too many people auditioning for projects? And there will be more people auditioning. That is true. But the other thing that I say to that is that there's so many new shows coming out all the time, so many new movies, so many more platforms coming out. You got Peacock, you got Hulu, you got Netflix, you got Amazon Prime, you got Disney Plus, you got HBO, which is now Max. You got so many different things. There's going to be more platforms, by the way, that open up. It doesn't just end here. There's also platforms that are out there that I don't even know the name of but I have an actor or somebody tell me, oh, I auditioned for this thing and it's on this different social media platform. So there's a lot of opportunities out there. So anyways, I think self-tapes are very good and very helpful, and I just wouldn't complain about it. It doesn't even help you anyways. The other thing that I want to say when it comes to self-tapes is it is important how you frame yourself and how you look on the self-tapes. I did a whole video on that, so all you have to do is just go and look on my videos and just find the one where I talk about the self-tapes, because I show you the actual examples of me standing there, me being filmed, me showing you with lighting, me showing you with the proper framing, me showing you with the sound, and I also show you just different things on which lights you can actually get, specific ones that are, again, cost effective for you as the actor. So a lot of different things, but this video ultimately is supposed to be a very easy step-by-step guide for what to do for yourself. So these are the basics. Let's wrap it all up again. To make it in this business as an actor, in order to go and make it to that next step, you're gonna have to have an agent or a manager. You can't do it without them. You need them. In order to get them, you're gonna have to have a headshot, a resume, and a cover letter. And then you're gonna go and have to submit to them. Now, how do you find them? Well, some of the things that we talked about are the showcases, having references from other actors because you take acting classes and they have different agent or managers for themselves, or using IMDb Pro specifically. Then when it comes down to acting, if you haven't taken acting classes before, or if you have and you just want to continue improving your acting, there's a lot of different ways to do that. Finding local acting classes around you is a great way to do it. Going to different junior colleges is another great way to do it. Going to online classes is another great way to do it. If you're interested in our 10-hour acting masterclass, or 2.0 version of 10 hours of pure acting knowledge, which you get to work at your own personalized and design pace, that's going to be down in the comment section below and in the description. And then also the self-tapes. Self-tapes are very important. They're here to stay. They're not going anywhere. It is important to go and have a good looking self-tape for yourself. The thing that I would suggest you do is just go and watch my video on the self-tape, because I gave you the exact examples of what it actually looks like, and that'll be more helpful than me just trying to explain it in this video. And that's what you need. You do those things, and that's going to put you on the right path of achieving, hopefully, the goals of what you wanted to be on the next big Stranger Things, or to be on HBO and their new Game of Thrones, or to be in the next Barbie movie, or whatever it is that you're wanting to do for yourself. These are the simple, easy, step-by-step processes that you need to take that'll take you to the next level. So I hope you all liked the video. Make sure you leave a comment down in the comment section down below, and I'll see you all next time. All right? Peace.